Welcome to my channel Clarkspective.
So the Colts have Fever players out. Sophie was not there, but they give everyone jerseys, and Caitlin Clark, grew up in Iowa, is a Chiefs fan, refused to wear the Colts jersey. She just held it up like this. And she hasn't gone out and said, like, I didn't do it because I'm a Chiefs fan, but the internet was like, she's a real one.
I love it.
And it's just like...
Caitlin Clark is more than just the WNBA's public face. Sophie Cunningham claims that she is in charge of everything in Indiana. And what Cunningham recently disclosed on her podcast has fans going crazy and league insiders scrambling. We're talking about a commissioner who was recently completely trashed on social media, LeBron level control, and covert team tactics to bring her down. However, this is the topic that no one is discussing. This is much more than just basketball. This is about a league that wasn't prepared for what Clark had to offer, power and jealousy. If you appreciate this content, consider giving this video a like and subscribing to the channel. Believe it or not, more than 85% of viewers haven't subscribed yet. It's free and only takes a second, but it means the world to us. So, did you subscribe already? Great. Thank you so much for your support. Now, back to the video. Everything we believe to be true about the WNBA's purported sisterhood is altered by what Cunningham revealed. When Sophie Cunningham sat down for her most recent podcast episode, she didn't hold back. The effect from her shocking revelation is still being felt. Playing for the Fever is not all that Clark does. She essentially runs the show like a seasoned superstar who has been in the game for 10 years, controlling the offensive scheme and having a significant say in team choices. Even after years of demonstrating her abilities, Cunningham likened Clark's influence to that of LeBron James, claiming that she possesses the kind of power that most rookies could only imagine. Nor was this a mere observation. Having played with some of the top names in women's basketball, Cunningham is well versed in the league. People pay attention when she speaks. Basketball communities were rocked by the discovery since it validated many people's suspicions that no one dared to voice. A novice with such power. That is practically unheard of in professional sports, and the league is unable to overlook the discomfort it is causing veterans. Nor was the analogy to LeBron made at random. Consider it. Even LeBron had to earn his stripes before front offices began constructing entire teams around his vision, despite the fact that he entered the NBA with enormous hype. As soon as Clark arrived in Indianapolis, he took charge of the team's future. Cunningham disclosed that Clark is frequently consulted by the coaching staff regarding plays, modifications, and even player choices. For any rookie, let alone one who recently graduated from college months ago, that is abnormal. She was effectively given the keys to the kingdom by the sickness. And Cunningham says Clark hasn't let him down. She has demonstrated her ability to manage the task. However, there is a lot of friction in the league because she has it at all. A 22-year-old is using authority that veterans who have worked for years have never been given. However, Cunningham's revelation of what was going on behind closed doors during Clark's first season was the real tea. Teams weren't merely attempting to outscore her on the scoreboard. They were planning to physically and psychologically destroy her. Cunningham disclosed that the Phoenix Mercury, her former team, made open discussions about making Clark's life miserable during every game in the locker room. The tactic was ruthless and straightforward. See if the collegiate standout could handle the big leagues when things went filthy by toughening her up, being physical, and pushing the limits of what referees would call. This was not a game of basketball. Under the cover of veteran hazing, this was psychological warfare. The Mercury players publicly talked about how they needed to put Clark to the test, smack her around, and let her know that the WNBA wasn't going to throw a red carpet party simply because she attracted millions of viewers and corporate sponsorships. Cunningham made it very evident that this was a planned effort by several veterans who felt truly frightened by all the attention Clark was receiving, even though she did not name every player participated in these chats. Consider the ramifications of this. As Clark entered venues where opponents had practically planned how to scare her, she was being hailed by the media as women's basketball savior. Her encounter with physical play wasn't coincidental or merely a feature of the game. It was planned, deliberate, and intended to convey a message. Veterans wanted to see if she would fight back or give under to pressure. They wanted to know if Clark was just another overhyped collegiate talent who would struggle against professional competition, or if the hoopla was genuine. Every grievance raised by Clark supporters over her treatment during the season is validated by Cunningham's admission. Then came the turning point, when Cunningham became Clark's unofficial bodyguard. Things swiftly got out of control during a furious game between Mercury and the Fever. In what appeared to be a purposefully violent altercation, Clark became entangled with a Mercury player. Suddenly, Cunningham found herself in the center of it all, shocking everyone by fiercely supporting her new teammate. Everything was captured by the cameras. Cunningham made it very evident that anyone pursuing Clark would have to get through her first by getting into fights and hurling her body between Clark and opponents. The internet blew up. Videos of Cunningham defending Clark received millions of views on all social media sites. YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. Everyone was discussing it. Almost quickly, her following grew from 400,000 to over 1 million, and companies began contacting her for collaborations right away. For what she did during that game, she was fined $900. You know what she did, too? She essentially dared the league to penalize her once more by wearing it as a badge of honor. Later, Cunningham made a joke on social media about how it was the finest $900 she had ever spent because it made it clear to everyone where she stood and what she was prepared to give up for her friend. She didn't prepare for or try out for the enforcer role, but once she accepted it, there was no going back. All of a sudden, Cunningham was more than simply a reliable WNBA player. As the only player in the league prepared to openly defend the rookie, she served as Clark's guardian. It appeared that everyone else was determined to destroy. Not only did that viral incident increase her prominence, but it also drastically altered how players and fans perceived Cunningham's role on the team and their relationship. In the off-season, Cunningham made the decision that she wasn't done stirring things up and building relationships with league executives. During an interview, Bubba Commissioner Kathy Angelbert made certain remarks that upset some people, especially when she brought up Clark's name combined with a 16 in a $1 million amount. While it's true that the league benefited financially from Clark's entrance, Angelbert's statement implied that the league should take credit for Clark's star power rather than admitting that Clark was the cause of the increase. Cunningham became enraged. In a message that left no room for interpretation, she vehemently criticized Angelbert on Instagram. Within minutes, the message went viral after she referred to her as the WNBA's most deluded leader. Players, fans, and media figures all offered their opinions. Cunningham was commended by some for speaking truth to power and expressing opinions that other players were too afraid to voice in public. Some believed that she went too far and disrespected the commissioner in a way that would harm her career in the long run. However, no one could ignore it. The post was all over the place. All of a sudden, Angelbert was on the defense and had to respond to criticism from one of the most prominent players in the league. Cunningham wasn't merely attempting to create drama to garner attention or criticizing Angelbert for no reason at all. She was truly incensed at the commissioner's apparent attempt to claim credit for Clark's effect while neglecting to shield her from the brutal play and targeting she endured over the season. According to Cunningham, the league administration did nothing significant to stop Clark from getting blasted game after game. The criticism was unedited, direct, and personal. Cunningham avoided using formal or diplomatic words. She didn't later apologize for saying exactly what she meant to say. Given that the WNBA is still a relatively small league and that a player's career may be seriously harmed by burning bridges with leadership, the decision was dangerous. However, it's obvious that Cunningham came to the conclusion that speaking up was preferable to being silent. Fans who had been dissatisfied with the way the NBA handled Clark's first season used her Instagram post as a rallying cry. It also revealed a widening gap between players who think special treatment compromises the sport's competitive integrity and those who think the league must safeguard its stars. The discoveries from the podcast continued and intensified. Cunningham didn't stop at complimenting Clark's skill or standing up for her dignity in the face of criticism. She attacked everyone who didn't recognize Clark as the league's undeniable face. She also didn't refrain from throwing punches. Anyone who doesn't see Clark as the centerpiece of the WNBA is literally dumb and probably jealous of the attention she's receiving. Cunningham wasn't holding back or playing politics in her NSFW tirade, which had listeners hitting rewind and sharing clips everywhere. From someone who has been in the trenches and knows exactly what Clark brings to the table beyond her on-court performance, this was an honest, unvarnished assessment. Cunningham went into great depth about how Clark's influence extends far beyond numbers, highlights, and Instagram followers. She has sold out previously half-empty arenas, swamped ticket websites, and made casual fans who had no interest in the WNBA suddenly tune in religiously to watch her play. She has also brought unprecedented public exposure to women's basketball. Sales of merchandise surged. TV viewership increased by 2 and 3 times. After decades of ignoring women's basketball, corporate sponsors suddenly wanted to get involved. According to Cunningham, to reject that truth is to be deliberately ignorant or so overcome by jealousy that you are unable to see beyond your own ego. Rising tides lift all boats, she said, so whether they want to acknowledge it or not, every WNBA player gains financially and professionally from the attention Clark attracts. But this is when things start to get fascinating, and it's the portion that truly demonstrates how complicated their relationship is. Cunningham and Clark's relationship isn't this idealized fairy tale of teammates who adore each other and spend all of their free time together, despite all the defending, public support, and viral bodyguard moments. Cunningham publicly ridiculed Clark's appearance in the comments section of a swimsuit promotional post. Yes, it was light-hearted banter, but it revealed an aspect of their relationship that fans don't always see or comprehend. They don't wear matching friendship bracelets and are best friends. They are rivals who appreciate one another's skills and recognize each other's contributions to the team, but they aren't scared to poke fun at one another when the situation demands it or when one of them does something deserving of ridicule. Cunningham has never been the kind to pretend to be close to someone simply because it looks nice on social media or to fabricate connections for public consumption. Clark doesn't seem to be either. Instead of being buddy-buddy off the court or spending a lot of time together outside of team events, their friendship is based on respect for one another, a shared passion for competition, and a sincere knowledge of what it takes to accomplish at the highest level. They encourage one another throughout practice, support one another when things get tough, and don't hesitate to confront one another when needed. In actuality, that is far more significant than some manufactured bond that exists solely for team PR and Instagram posts. Real relationships have layers, and often the best teammates are the ones who maintain their authenticity even while the cameras are rolling, as the bikini comment demonstrated. What does this actually imply for Clark, the league, and women's basketball going forward? With a level of influence that utterly defies all conventional norms and rewrites the rules on the treatment of rookie superstars, Clark has entered the WNBA. She's not waiting her turn, paying dues, or discreetly picking up tips from veterans who believe they know better. She is changing the way the league functions both on and off the court, demanding respect and receiving it right away. Franchises have had to reconsider their marketing plans, roster formation, and even TV deal negotiations as a result of her presence. The WNBA's continued division over its new reality and future is demonstrated by Cunningham's determination to speak out, publicly criticize league leadership, and stand up for Clark at every opportunity. Some executives and players actually dislike the attention Clark receives and wish the league's focus was shared more fairly. They fear the WNBA is becoming overly reliant on one person's star power and view her as a threat to their own relevancy. Then there are some, like Cunningham, who recognize that everyone benefits from rising tides and that everyone will have more chances as a result of Clark's success. There won't be any relief from the tension anytime soon. If anything, it will get more intense as Clark keeps breaking records and dominating. You can bet that the drama is far from ended as another season draws near. Teams will keep attempting to slow her down. Veterans will continue to wonder if she merits all the attention, and Cunningham will likely continue to voice her opinions regardless of who they offend. The WNBA is at a real turning point that will shape women's basketball for the ensuing 10 years. Everyone involved, players, coaches, executives, the media, and fans, has been compelled to take sides due to Clark's domination both on and off the court. Are you among the traditionalists who want things done the old-fashioned way? Or are you prepared to welcome a new era in which superstars are seen as the franchise-altering abilities that they truly are? Without offering an apology, Cunningham publicly and loudly supported her. One thing is certain, regardless of whether you believe she is entirely correct or going too far. She doesn't hesitate to express what others might only mumble behind closed locker room doors or in private group discussions. And that kind of brutal honesty may be exactly what basketball needs right now in a league that is finally receiving the mainstream attention it has been frantically pursuing for decades. Whether Clark will continue to rule the league and shatter every record in sight is no longer the question. At this time, that is practically a given. The true question is whether the WNBA and its elite can manage the turmoil, envy, and fundamental power shift that accompany her extraordinary ascent to the top. Can a league that has consistently advocated for equality? And does sisterhood endure when a single player surpasses the sport as a whole? Cunningham appears to agree, but she's also ready to battle anyone who attempts to undermine Clark. Furthermore, that battle is only getting begun based on all she has said and done thus far.